So now we are going to discuss a very practical chapter of math, which is constructions. So what is the usage of constructions? In math alone, we see that there are many theorems who can only be proven if we are able to construct proper figures for them. Also, your basic constructions are based on this knowledge only. So you already know how to go about some of these constructions by making use of a ruler and a compass. Let's quickly revisit them. So bisecting an angle. So by now you must be knowing how to construct a side or construct an angle. Now we'll just discuss how to bisect it. For example, I take a line segment. On this you make an angle of 60° like this. And now we have to bisect this. Bisecting an angle means dividing it into two equal parts. Bi means 2. So you put the needle of your compass on this point. You cut an arc. You put your needle on this point now. And don't change the distance between the two needles of the compass. Don't change this distance. Keep it constant. And from this point also you cut an arc. So the point where the two arcs are intersecting, you join this point with this point, the vertex of your angle. And if you measure it now, even by making use of a protractor, it will turn out to be 30°. So this is how you go about bisecting an angle. Then talking about drawing the perpendicular bisector of a line segment. So let's say I give you a line segment over here. You can construct this also by taking your ruler. For example, you want to construct a 5 centimeter line segment. So put one needle over here of your compass and the other needle on that distance 5 centimeter. And then simply put the needle over here, draw an arc, and this is your line segment of 5 centimeters. Now I have to construct its perpendicular bisector. Now bisector again means dividing the line segment into two equal parts, and perpendicular means in a perpendicular fashion. Which is to say, if my line segment AB looks like this, then its perpendicular bisector PQ will look like this. So PQ is bisecting this line segment AB into two equal parts, and this is further at a 90° angle to the line segment AB. So for that, you keep your one needle of the compass over here, keep it fixed, and cut an arc like this. Then don't change that distance, okay? From here, you cut an arc like this. So from here, point B also, you do the same thing, one above and one below. Now what you need to do is join these two points of intersection, and let me call this point M. So you will realize that AM and MB turn out to be equal, and in fact this angle will also be 90°. So to make these measurements, now you can make use of your ruler and a protractor to just verify. So we are done with this. And constructions of triangles. Now this is a very wide area, okay? You can't really go by one particular way, but let's say I give you a triangle whose all three sides are known to you. So for example, I just make a point A, I measure the distance AB, I cut an arc, and this is one side that I get AB. Then I know the distance BC, so keep your needle on point B, okay, needle of the compass, and then you measure the same distance BC, whatever is mentioned in the question. You cut an arc like this. Then from point A, you measure AC, you cut an arc like this. The point of intersection is your vertex C. Join AC, join BC, and you're ready with your triangle. Now what if all the three sides are not given to you? In that case, maybe some angles are given to you, and you know already like how to construct angles. So this is how we go about some of these basic constructions. And in class 9, we also saw that how these constructions even work. So in this chapter also, we'll proceed in a very systematic way. We'll take up some new constructions, and we will also see how they are working. What is the reasoning behind them? So that brings us to our first topic, which is division of a line segment. So for example, I give you a line segment AB. You know that a line segment is of a fixed distance. It's not like a line. There's a difference between line and line segment. And I have been given this line segment AB. I want to divide it in the ratio M:n. Okay, now what about M and N? What are they? They are your positive integers. That means they could have value 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So it could be the ratio 1:2, 2:1, 1:1, 3:1, any ratio, okay? So how do you go about dividing your line segment? You already know how to construct a line segment. Now we'll see how to divide a line segment. So for simplicity sake, let's take the ratio to be 3:2. What does this mean? That my M is 3 and my N is 2. So the first method goes about like this, that first of all, you are already provided with the line segment AB, or even if you're asked to, it's no big thing, you can easily construct a line segment AB. So this is your line segment AB. Now we want to divide it in the ratio of 3:2. So first of all, given line segment AB, then you have to draw a ray. Okay, draw a ray AX, and the only thing here is that this ray AX should make an acute angle with AB. What do we mean by acute angle? An angle which lies between 0 degree and 90 degree. So this is your ray AX, and this angle over here, this angle BAX, the angle which this ray AX is making with the line segment, this angle over here is acute. What's the next step? You do M plus N. Okay, so in this case, M is 3, N is 2. So M plus N is 5. So you have to make M plus N points on the ray AX. Okay, so over here we will make M plus N points, but all these points should be equidistant. Okay, that is the catch here, that these points have to be equidistant. Equidistant means they should be at the same distance from one another, equal distances. So I have to take 5 points. Let me cut this arc. So this gives me point A1, then this gives me point A2, then we have A3, A4, A5. So you keep on measuring these distances, equal distances. Let's say you're having a gap of 1 centimeter each. So make use of your ruler, and then you keep your needle over here, cut an arc. Keep your needle over here, cut an arc. Keep a needle, cut an arc. Keep your needle, cut an arc. Keep your needle and cut your arc. Okay, so that way you get how many points? A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. So you get 5 points that you've plotted because you had to make M plus N points. Okay, then what is the next step? You have to join B and A5. Okay, you have to join this point B and this point A5. So basically the last point is joined to the end point of the line segment. So I've joined this. Now I want to make a line through the mth point. Okay, what was my mth point? The third point that I made. Okay, so draw line through mth point. In this case, the mth point is third point, which is A3, such that it meets AB, let's say at a point C. Okay, so I want to join them, but in such a way, the catch over here is that this A3C that I'm going to make now, it should be parallel to A5B. Now for that, how do you make parallel lines? Parallel lines, for that you need to make your equal angles. Okay, so for parallel lines, equal angles have to be constructed. So for that, you just measure this angle over here, A5B. Okay, and just after measuring this angle, you have to make the same angle at A3. Okay, so you cut that arc over here, and then the point where the two arcs are intersecting and this point, you join them and extend this till AB, such that over here it becomes point C, like this. So now you will notice that A3C and A5B are parallel because the corresponding angles are equal. Okay, when are corresponding angles equal? When the lines are parallel. So now I want you to grab your ruler and measure this distance AC and measure this distance CB. If you take their ratio, it will turn out to be 3:2. Now we will see why this methodology is working. So for that, we will consider the basic proportionality theorem. So we just saw that we made A3C parallel to A5B. Okay, so now I can say that my A3 upon A3 A5, okay, this distance upon this distance is equal to this AC upon CB. AC upon CB. I'm saying this because of the basic proportionality theorem. So this is a property of triangles, that if I am given a triangle, say ABC, and I draw a line segment parallel to the base of this triangle, Okay, let's say PQ. Then AP upon PB is equal to AQ upon QC. So making use of that property, we can write this. Now by construction itself, we know that AA3 upon A3A5 is equal to 3 by 2. We know this because we have constructed this. So by construction, this is the case. Therefore, by basic proportionality theorem, we can say AC by CB is 3 by 2. Hence, we can say that C is dividing this line segment AB in the ratio of 3:2. AC is 3, CB is 2. Okay, units. Okay, then there's an alternative method to this. We'll just see how. So once again, you make your line segment AB. Okay, make line segment AB, or it could be given to you also. So now what do? You have to again draw this ray AX. Okay, draw ray AX. What's so special about this ray? That this angle is acute. Okay, that means it lies between 0 and 90 degrees, such that it makes an acute angle with AB. Now what you need to do is that you measure this angle and make the same angle at this point B. Okay, then you cut an arc and then you join this point with the point of intersection of the two arcs and then extend it. So you will get a ray BY. So basically we want to make BY parallel to AX. So for that we have to construct equal angles. I repeat, if you want to make parallel lines, you have to construct equal angles. That's why we are going about it in this way. Now once you've done this, what you need to do now is that you have to take M points on AX and N points on BY. Okay, and all these points have to be equidistant. That is the catch. Equidistant means equal distances. So how many, what is my value of M over here? M is 3. That means how many points will I make on my ray AX? 3. So let me call them A1, A2, A3. So they are all at the same distance, which means AA1 is equal to A1A2 is equal to A2A3. Then I have to make some points on this ray BY as well. How many? N. What is N over here? 2. That means I'll make 2 points. Let's say B1 and B2. So here your AA1 is equal to A1A2 is equal to A2A3, and further this distance is also equal to BB1 is equal to B1B2. So this is very important, like these are equal amongst themselves also, but also with respect to this arm AX also, these distances are all equal. Okay, so once you've made these points, now you have to join this A3 with B2. Okay, simply just draw a straight line, and obviously there will be a point where it intersects AB. So let me call this point C. Okay, now you measure AC and CB. Okay, you can make use of your ruler and this will turn out to be 3 by 2. So once again, we've divided a line segment AB in the ratio 3:2 by making use of an alternative method. Now we'll also see how this method is working. So for that, you have to consider similarity. So let's take two triangles. Okay, for similarity, you have to prove two triangles similar. So let me take this triangle AA3C, triangle AA3C, and take this triangle B2C. Okay, these two triangles. So this angle and this angle would be equal now. Okay, because you know that they are vertically opposite angles. So we can say angle ACA3 is equal to angle BCB2. What is the reason? Vertically opposite angles. Apart from this, we see that these two angles are equal. So then these two angles, that is angle CAA3 and your angle CBB2, they are equal by construction. Remember, we made these rays AX and BY parallel by constructing equal angles. So if any two corresponding angles of two triangles are proven to be equal, we can say that the two triangles, in this case AA3C and triangle BB2C, are similar by the AA similarity criterion. Now we know that if two triangles are similar, their corresponding sides are in the same ratio. So the sides which are of interest to me over here are the ones which relate AC and CB. So let me write this as AA3 upon BB2. This is equal to AC upon BC because they are corresponding sides of similar triangles. This is the reason that you can give here corresponding sides of similar triangles. So now by construction itself, we know AA 3 upon BB2 is 3 by 2. So by making use of similarity, we prove that AC upon BC is same as this, which means this is also 3 by 2, and this is what we just stated. So now we'll construct similar triangles. So for that, let's quickly see what are similar triangles. So if I give you a triangle ABC and I say that you have to prove a triangle PQR similar to this triangle, and while proving it, I gave you some similarity criterions in the previous chapters. We discussed AA, we discussed SSS, SAS, but in general, what is common in similar triangles is that if I say triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR, then their corresponding angles are equal, which means angle A and angle P are equal, angle B and angle Q are equal, angle C and angle R are equal. Furthermore, the corresponding sides are in the same ratio. So this AB upon PQ is equal to BC upon QR is equal to AC upon PR. So this is what we mean by similar triangles. Now let's see how we construct them. So these ratios that I told you over here, they are called scale factors. Okay, they are also called as representative fractions, but we also call them scale factors. So in the question, you will be given the scale factor, and then you have to construct a triangle similar to the given triangle. So now there can be two situations over here. The triangle that you have to construct can be smaller than the given triangle. Okay, in this case, your scale factor will be less than 1. Okay, this ratio will be less than 1. Or it could be a case where the triangle is larger than the given triangle. So then the scale factor in the question would be given to you as greater than 1. So once again, scale factor means the ratio of the corresponding sides of the triangle. So when scale factor is less than 1, okay, it will be given to you in the question. And if it's less than 1, that means that your triangle which you're going to construct will be smaller than the given triangle. If it's greater than 1, it means the triangle to be constructed is greater than the given triangle. Alright, now obviously we are not considering the same sizes of triangles because then the triangles would become congruent, and here we are talking of similar triangles. So we'll understand this through examples. You have been given a triangle ABC, and now you have to construct a triangle similar to this triangle with its sides equal to 3 by 4 of the corresponding sides of the triangle ABC. Now this means that if two triangles are similar, then the ratio of the corresponding sides is 3 by 4. And this ratio of corresponding sides is also referred to as the scale factor. So this means that your scale factor is 3 by 4. Now if you calculate this 3 by 4, you convert it into decimals, you will get the answer as 0.75. Now you tell me, is 0.75 greater than 1 or less than 1? Obviously it is less than 1. So this gives you your scale factor less than 1. That means that the triangle that you are constructing is smaller than your given triangle. Okay, now how do we construct this? So this triangle is already given to you, triangle ABC. So first of all, we will draw a ray BX. Okay, draw ray BX. Okay, this construction would be happening on the opposite side of vertex A. Okay, on opposite side of A we are constructing it. You could draw any ray. Okay, it's not necessary that you have to draw a ray with B only. You could have drawn it with A, with C. Okay, it doesn't matter. So we've made this ray BX. So now you tell me, in this scale factor, is numerator larger or the denominator, 3 or 4? Obviously 4 is greater than 3. So we will locate 4 points on BX. Locate 4 points on BX. But again, the catch here is that these points are equidistant. So 4 points, let me have point B1, B2, B3 and B4. So what's so special that BB1 is equal to B1, B2 is equal to B2, B3 is equal to B3, B4. Why did I make 4 points? Because I take the larger number over here in the scale factor and I make those number of points on my ray BX. Now we need to join some points here. So join this B4 and C. Now which is lesser, 3 or 4? 3 is lesser. So now you will consider the third point. So consider third point. And you have to join it, okay, and basically join this line over here so that it meets BC. Okay, so consider the third point. The third point over here is B3, So make a line through B3 which meets BC. Okay, so let's say it meets at a point C dash. Okay. Now the catch here is that this distance B3 C dash, okay, this line B3 C dash, it should be parallel to B4 C. So to make a line parallel over here, you have to first of all measure this angle B4 C. Okay, then you have to construct the exact same angle on B3. Okay, so you cut an arc, you take the point of intersection of the arcs and you take this point B3 and you join them, okay, such that it meets your side BC of the triangle, and let's say it meets it at C dash. So now since we've constructed equal angles, we can say B3 C dash and your B4 C, they are parallel to one another. Now what you need to do is you need to draw a line through C dash. So you have to now draw a line through C dash till AB. So let's say it meets your AB at point A dash. So the catch over here is that your A dash C dash should be parallel to AC. So first you measure the angle at AC. You construct the exact same angle at C dash. You take the point of intersection of the arcs. You take this point. You just join the points. Okay, you make your line going on till this side AB of the triangle, and let's say it meets AB at A dash. Now by virtue of constructing equal angles, we can say A dash C dash and AC are parallel to one another, and now we can say that this triangle A dash B C dash is the required triangle, and you can see that this triangle is similar to your ABC. In the very beginning, I told you that the scale factor over here is less than 1, which means that the triangle that you're constructing should be smaller than the given triangle, and clearly this triangle is smaller than the triangle ABC. Now let's see the reason why our approach is working over here. So by construction, we know that BC dash upon C dash C, okay, BC dash upon this C dash C, this distance upon this distance is equal to what? 3 by 1. So we know this because that is the way we have constructed it. So by construction, this is the case, because see, this BC dash is 3, this entire BC is 4. So this will become what? 1. So that's why BC dash upon C dash C is 3 by 1. So further, I can say that your BC upon BC dash, okay, this, what is this entire length BC? It is BC dash plus C dash C. So I can say BC dash plus C dash C is equal to BC dash. If I just divide this, so I get BC dash upon BC dash plus C dash C upon BC dash. So this will become 1 plus C dash C upon BC dash. And what is this? BC upon BC dash. So my C dash C upon BC dash by construction was 3 by 1. So if I take reciprocal, this becomes 1 by 3. So this will become 1 plus 1 by 3. If you take the LCM, you will get 4 by 3. So if I take the reciprocal again, I'll get BC dash upon BC as 3 by 4. So hence the side of the new triangle is 3 by 4 times of your given side BC, and hence the two triangles are now proven to be similar by AA axiom. So we are considering similarity of triangle ABC and triangle A dash C dash B. So here we know that angle B is common to both the triangles, and by construction we know that this angle A dash C dash B is equal to angle ACB. This is by construction because we wanted to make A dash C dash parallel to AC. So if two corresponding angles of two triangles are proven to be equal, we can say that the two triangles are similar. By which similarity criterion am I able to say this? By the AA similarity criterion. And if that is the case, we can prove that the corresponding sides are in the same ratio. So A dash B upon AB is equal to A dash C dash upon AC is equal to BC dash upon BC is equal to 3 by 4. So all these sides are 3 by 4 times of AB, AC and BC respectively. So then we have example 2. So you have to construct a triangle similar to the given triangle ABC. So here again you have already been provided with triangle ABC. but this time the sides are equal to 5 by 3 of the corresponding sides of the given triangle. What does this mean? That the ratio of corresponding sides is 5 by 3. And what do we call ratio of corresponding sides? Scale factor. So this means scale factor is 5 by 3 over here. And if you see this 5 by 3, it is obviously greater than 1. So this means that my scale factor is greater than 1. So now you tell me, the triangle that we will be constructing, will it be larger or smaller than the given triangle? Well, it should be larger because scale factor is greater than 1. So we have been given this triangle ABC. Again, we will construct a ray BX. So draw BX ray, which makes an acute angle with BC. Okay, again I repeat, you can make a ray with A also, with C also, but here let's just go by BX. So this makes an acute angle with this side BC of the triangle. So now what you need to do is, you have to see 5 is greater or 3. Obviously 5 is greater. So locate 5 equidistant points on BX. So you have to locate 5 equidistant points on this ray BX. So let them be B1, B2, B3, B4, B5. Okay, so you know how to construct these points, right? So you keep your needle of your compass over here and keep on cutting arcs of equal distances. So that's how you'll get all these points. So now what you need to do is, you need to see if 3 is greater or 5. 5 was greater. So we've already done this 5 thing over here by taking 5 equidistant points in BX. Now we make use of this 3 over here and we join the third point that we have constructed, that is B3. And we join this to your C. Okay, so we join B3 and C. So now we will be extending BC to C dash. So extend BC to C dash. We've extended this side of the triangle, and then what we will do is, we will measure this angle over here. After extending this, we will measure this angle B3C, because we want to construct a line parallel to B3C. So for that we need to construct an equal angle, equal to angle B3C. So for this, what you need to do is that, first of all, you extend this BC and then you make this point BY, okay, have the same angle as the angle at B3. So you make the angle, you make the arc, and then you join this point with the point of intersection of the two arcs, and you meet it, join the extended side BC at a point C dash. Okay, so this has met the extended side at a point C dash. Okay, extend BC to C dash and join B5C dash such that B5C dash is parallel to B3C. For that, what have you done? You've constructed equal angles. Now you have to extend this side BA of this triangle, okay, to A dash. So extend BA to A dash, and now you measure this angle ABC, ACB, okay, and construct the exact same angle at this point C dash. So you make this arc and take the point of intersection of the arcs, take this point C dash and join these points, okay, and make this extend and go up to the extended side AB of the triangle. Okay, so this is, say, point A dash over here. So this is what you've got. So you've got two triangles over here. So this was the original triangle ABC, and this is the triangle that you have constructed, A dash B C dash. So this A dash B C dash is your required triangle, which means it is similar to the given triangle ABC. Again, in the very beginning, I told you that the scale factor is greater than 1, which meant that the triangle that we are going to construct will be larger than the given triangle, and that turns out to be true. From the figure itself, you can make out. Now, why is this methodology working? So for that, we again refer to some properties of triangles. So consider triangle ABC and triangle A dash B C dash. So in both the triangles, angle B is common, and by construction, angle ACB is equal to angle A dash C dash B. Okay, by construction, because we wanted to make AC and A dash C dash parallel to one another. So if two corresponding angles of two triangles are proven to be equal, we can say that the two triangles are similar to one another by the AA similarity criterion. And if they are similar, it means that the corresponding sides would be in the same ratio. Therefore, we can say that AB upon A dash B dash is equal to AC. What is the corresponding side of AC? It is A dash C dash. So this is equal to BC upon BC dash. Alright, now we already know that this BC upon BC dash is equal to BB3 upon BB5. You remember we were dividing line segment in the earlier portion of this chapter, and there we did this by basic proportionality theorem. Okay, when we make these two sides parallel by basic proportionality theorems, two ratios turn out to be equal. So by basic proportionality theorem, and by construction we know BB3 upon BB5 is what? BB3 upon BB5 was equal to 3 by 5 by construction. So by basic proportionality theorem, your BC upon BC dash is also 3 by 5 now. Okay, so if I take reciprocal of all these sides, I'll get A dash B dash upon AB is equal to A dash C dash upon AC. Now you tell me the third ratio, just reciprocal of this. So it will be BC dash upon BC. So if this is 3 by 5, you take the reciprocal, it's 5 by 3. So if you notice, all these sides, A dash B dash is 5 by 3 of AB. Okay, your A dash C dash is also 5 by 3 of AC. Your BC dash is also 5 by 3 times BC. So all the sides that we have constructed are turning out to be 5 by 3 times the original sides. So that means the scale factor is 5 by 3. We have constructed A dash BC dash similar to ABC. So then we have construction of tangents to a circle. So a quick recapitulation, what do we mean by tangent? So if I give you a circle at center O, then a tangent would be a line. So to understand a tangent, you have to take the case of a line and a circle which meet at only one point, okay, which have only one common point. So if this is my circle, I'll say this is my tangent, because there is only one common point. So now how do we construct these tangents? Okay, now there can be three possibilities when we talk of construction of tangents to a circle. Okay, so number one, we take a point inside a circle. Now if you take a point inside a circle, okay, let me take a line inside a circle, so then there'll always be two common points. But for tangent, you need to have only one common point. So in this case, you do not get a tangent. So you don't get any tangent, because what you get is actually a secant. Then second thing is that point can be on the circle. By on circle, I mean the circumference of the circle. In that case, there will only be one tangent. So then one tangent is possible. Now what if I take a point outside the circle? Okay, if I take an external point. Okay, so let me take this as my circle, and I am having this point over here P. So then can I have tangents? Yes, in fact we will have two tangents, that too equal in length. So there will be two possible tangents in this case. Okay, so we will obviously not understand how point inside a circle is not giving us any tangent, because we are dealing with construction of tangents. It's not going to yield you any tangent. Now if there's a point on a circle, how do you make a tangent? So you know that there is a theorem, there's a property that the radius of a circle is perpendicular to the tangent to that circle. Okay, so basically you have to make a perpendicular over here, and that's how you will be able to construct this tangent. So what you need to do here is you draw a line perpendicular to your radius. Okay, so you have this radius over here, you make an angle of 90 degree, you make a line over here passing through this particular point, and that will give you the tangent. But now we'll be focusing on this external point case, that how will you construct the two tangents from an external point. So for that, consider a circle with center O, and you take an external point P, and you have to join the 2 points now, O and P. So first of all, you join OP. Okay, join the center of the circle with this external point P. Now you have to construct a perpendicular bisector of AP. Construct perpendicular bisector of OP. So you keep your compass, one needle of your compass over here, make an arc, keep over here, make an arc. From here also you'll do the same thing below the line also, and then above the line. Okay, so This is one arc, this is another arc. You take the points of intersection of these arcs and then you make a line pass through them. So this will turn out to be the perpendicular bisector of OP. That means these two lengths would be equal and this angle would be 90 degrees. So let's say this point over here is M. So clearly M will be midpoint of OP because this line over here is perpendicular bisector of OP. So now you have to construct another circle. Now for constructing a circle, you need to know the center of the circle and the radius of the circle. So construct a circle with center M. So keep your one needle of your compass on this point M. Then measure this distance OM. Okay. And that will be your radius. Okay, so you have to construct a circle with center M and radius OM. So it will look like this. Obviously, it's a big circle and it is intersecting the smaller circle at 2 points. So let me call these points Q and R. So now you join PQ and PR. So you join these two. And clearly you can see that this PQ is a tangent to the circle. It is meeting the circle at only one common point. Similarly, PR is also tangent to the circle. It's meeting the circle at only one common point, which is R. So we have constructed the two tangents, which are PQ and PR. So all we did was, we joined this OP. We constructed a perpendicular bisector of OP. Let's say this point is M. We took this as center, OM as radius. We constructed this circle. And let's say this circle is meeting the smaller circle at points Q and R. So PQ, PR turn out to be a tangents. So why is this methodology working? Let's understand the reasoning behind that now. So now it's very easy to understand why this construction works. But to make it easy, you have to first of all join OQ. So you can join OQ by means of dashed lines. So join OQ first of all. You can join it by dashed lines. Now this angle PQO is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, why is this angle PQO equal to 90 degree? Because if you look carefully, this over here is a semicircle. Angle in a semicircle. So angle in a semicircle is always equal to 90 degree. Now you know that PQ is line touching the circle. And what is your OQ? OQ is radius. Okay, it's the line which is joining the center of the circle to the circumference. And now when is the case where PQ and OQ can be perpendicular to one another? They're perpendicular because angle PQ is 90. So when they're perpendicular to one another, we can say by the converse of the earlier theorems that PQ is tangent to circle with center O. Okay, not with M, obviously with center O. So this is how we prove it. Now, just a general information, what if your center is not given to you of the initial circle? Then what you need to do is you need to take any two non-parallel chords. So take any two non-parallel chords. You know what a chord means? Okay, like you take this chord and you take this chord. Okay, any two non-parallel chords. Okay, chord is any line segment which joins the two points in a circle. Alright, so you have to take any two non-parallel chords and you have to construct their perpendicular bisectors. Construct their perpendicular bisectors. You know how to construct perpendicular bisectors by now. And then their point of intersection will give you what? The center of the circle. Okay, now it's important to know the center of circle because only then you will be able to spot this point. Only then you will be able to construct the perpendicular bisector and then all the steps follow. So with this, we come to an end of this chapter. Let's see what is the takeaway from this. So we saw that there are two methods to divide a line segment. So this was new for us. So there can be two methods to divide a line segment with the ratio that is already given to us. Okay. So in a given ratio, if you want to divide a line segment, there are two methods. So let me quickly discuss one method with you. So let's say I've been given a line segment AB. So you make a ray AX such that it makes an acute angle with AB. Okay, now for example, if I want to divide this line segment AB in the ratio of 3:2, I will take M plus N, that is 3 plus 2 points in this case, on your ray AX. So I will take A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. What's so special about these points? That all of them are going to be equidistant. Now we will join this last point with this point B, and then I'll take the third point, which will be A3 in this case, and I'll make a line through it which meets AB, let's say at a point C. But the catch here is that the two line segments have to be parallel to one another. So for that we construct equal angles in that case, and that's how we get AC upon CB equal to 3/2. For this we even discuss similarity of triangles, basic proportionality theorem. So the reasoning is also quite important. Then we made use of this knowledge to construct similar triangles. And by looking at the scale factor which is given to us in the question, we could make out if the given triangle would be larger or smaller than the triangle that we're going to construct. Okay, so quickly tell me, what do we mean by a scale factor? It is the ratio of corresponding sides of similar triangles. Okay, so what if it is greater than 1? Then your constructed triangle would be larger or smaller than the given triangle? It will be larger. And what if the scale factor is less than 1? Then your constructed triangle would be smaller than the given triangle. We discussed both these cases through examples. Then we saw how to make a tangent. Okay, so if it is inside a circle, you won't get a tangent. If it is a point on the circle, then to make the tangent, you just have to make a perpendicular to the radius. Okay, and what if you have to construct a tangent from an external point? Okay, so if you have to construct a tangent from an external point, you'll actually be constructing two tangents. Okay, and for that what you need to do is, you'll obviously be given a circle already with the center O. If the center is not given, I just told you how you can make out. You have to take any two non-parallel chords and you have to take the perpendicular bisectors, look for the point of intersection, and that will give you the center of a circle. Then you have to take an external point P. What do you do next? You tell me. You join these points O and P. Then you make the perpendicular bisector. Let's say this point over here is M, which lies on OP. Then what do? We have to construct a circle. A circle requires a center and a radius. So what was the center? This M was the center, and what was the radius? OM. So when you made this circle was intersecting my smaller circle at 2 points. I call them Q and R. What do we do next? You simply join this PQ and PR, and they turn out to be the two tangents to your circle. That's it for this chapter. Thank you.